The Corinthian war cruiser's hull shuddered as another plasma volley tore through the diplomatic vessel's shields. Emma gripped the corridor wall, her knuckles white, as emergency lights bathed everything in crimson. Somewhere in the distance, Harry's voice crackled over her comm unit, coordinating evacuation protocols with whatever crew members still survived. They weren't supposed to be here. The peace conference on Station Theta 9 was meant to end the 3-year conflict between humanity and the Corinthian collective, not become another casualty of it. Emma rounded the corner toward the escape pods and froze. 2 Corinthian cubs, no more than younglings, barely reaching her waist, huddled against the bulkhead. Their crystalline scales, normally iridescent blue, had gone pale with terror. The larger one, perhaps 6 standard years old, positioned itself protectively in front of the smaller. Both had their dorsal spines flattened against their backs in the universal Corinthian gesture of submission and fear. But what made Emma's blood run cold wasn't the cubs themselves, was the 3 Vrexian mercenaries advancing down the corridor, their exoskeletons clicking with predatory intent. The insectoid warriors had been hired by a fringe faction opposed to peace, fanatics who wanted the war to continue, profit be damned. And right now they saw easy targets. The lead Vrexian chittered something in its clicking language, mandibles spreading wide. Its plasma rifle hummed to life, the targeting laser painting a red dot on the older cub's chest. Emma didn't think. She simply moved. She launched herself between the mercenaries and the cubs, arms spread wide, her own body becoming a wall of flesh and bone. The Vrexians pulled up short, their compound eyes registering surprise. Humans weren't supposed to be on this deck. Humans were supposed to be fleeing. "Back off," Emma growled, the sound resonating from somewhere deep in her chest. Primal, raw, utterly human. The lead Vrexian tilted its head, processing. Then it chittered what could only be laughter. In broken standard, it buzzed, "Human female, weak, soft, move or be eliminated." Emma's lips pulled back from her teeth in something that was definitely not a smile. Her heart hammered against her ribs, adrenaline flooding her system with that ancient cocktail of fight-or-flight chemicals that had kept her species alive since the African savanna. Every rational part of her brain screamed that she should run, that she couldn't win this fight, that she had no weapons, but there was another part, older, fiercer, that looked at those terrified cubs and saw children. Just children. "No," she said simply. Behind her, she felt the cubs press against her legs, trembling. The older one made a low, warbling sound, a Corinthian distress call. Emma shifted her stance wider, more stable. She'd taken exactly 3 self-defense classes before joining the diplomatic corps. She was a linguist, not a soldier. But right now, none of that mattered. The Vrexian raised its rifle. A blast of kinetic force hammered into the mercenary from the side, sending it crashing into the bulkhead. Harry came around the corner like a hurricane, a plasma cutter from the maintenance bay gripped in both hands. He wasn't a soldier either, an agricultural specialist who'd been part of the terraforming delegation, but the tool in his hands glowed with lethal intensity. "Emma," he shouted, positioning himself beside her. "Get them to Pod 7. But Emma didn't move. The other 2 Vrexians were already circling, their tactical programming kicking in. Harry might have surprised them, but surprise only worked once. "We go together," Emma said firmly. She reached down, and the older cub took her hand without hesitation. Its claws, retracted, she noted, wrapped around her palm. The smaller cub clung to Harry's leg. The Vrexians attacked as one. Harry swung the plasma cutter in a wide arc, forcing one mercenary back, but the other lunged for Emma. She twisted, putting herself between the attacker and the cubs, and felt something give in her shoulder as the Vrexian's claw raked across it. Pain exploded white-hot through her nervous system, but Emma didn't fall. Instead, she roared, an incoherent sound of rage and defiance that reverberated through the corridor. She grabbed the emergency fire suppression canister from the wall and slammed it into the Vrexian's thorax with every ounce of strength she possessed. The mercenary staggered back, chittering in confusion. Humans weren't supposed to fight back. They were diplomats, scientists, soft things. They had forgotten that humans were also persistence hunters, pack animals, a species that had clawed its way to the top of its world's food chain not through venom or armor, but through sheer bloody-minded refusal to quit. Harry's plasma cutter finally connected, and one Vrexian went down. The lead mercenary, recovered now, assessed the situation with cold tactical efficiency. 2 warriors lost, 2 soft-species opponents who fought like cornered predators, and, judging by the heavy footfalls approaching, reinforcements incoming. It chittered a retreat command, and the remaining Vrexians vanished into the smoke. Emma sagged against the wall, her shoulder screaming, adrenaline beginning to ebb. The older Corinthian cub pressed against her, its scales slowly regaining their color. It looked up at her with those large, multifaceted eyes and made a soft trilling sound. Harry checked his comm unit. "Security's clearing this section. We need to go." But before Emma could move, the cub reached up with one small clawed hand and gently touched her wounded shoulder. Its meaning was clear across all species barriers. Gratitude. As they made their way to the escape pods, Harry glanced at Emma. "You know the Corinthians call themselves apex predators, right? Their whole culture is built on strength." Emma managed a weak smile, wincing as her shoulder protested. "Yeah, so? So we just showed them what apex really looks like." Harry helped the smaller cub into the pod. "Humans don't abandon their young. Any young." The older cub chittered softly to its sibling, then looked back at Emma one final time before the pod sealed. In that moment, Emma understood that peace wasn't just about treaties and negotiations. Sometimes it was about standing between fear and innocence, regardless of species. Sometimes it was about baring your teeth and refusing to back down, even when every logical bone in your body said you should. The pod launched into the void, carrying 2 Corinthian cubs who would one day tell their people about the humans who had defended them, who had stood against warriors twice their size and snarled back. And perhaps, Emma thought as the diplomatic vessel shuddered one final time, that was exactly the kind of story that could end a war.